Yeah, you were mentioning mods earlier for Civilization series. I was wondering if you play any of these mods, or if you have a particular favorite one that you've seen or played for Civ 2, 3, or 4.
Good question. I love the modding community. I love our Civ community, but as I kind of discussed a little earlier, it's very hard for me to go back to a previous game and play it. So I have to, we have actually a testing group and a playing group that kind of supports the community and encourages and looks at the mods and kind of authorizes them for the community. I tend to have moved on to another game, so I can't really comment too knowledgeably about some of the mods, but they're certainly a big part of what keeps the Civ series alive in the years when there's not a new version, and we do appreciate it.
Hi, one of my earliest PC gaming memories is Civilization 2, which had video cutscenes for your advisors, including, I think, a luxury advisor who was very Elvis-like. Can you talk a little bit about the casting and shooting process of those video cutscenes?
Yes, Elvis made his first appearance in Civ 1 as the luxury advisor. When you could turn one of your citizens into an Elvis and your people would suddenly be happier. But of course you would lose whatever that person was doing, making food or whatever. In Civ 2, we kind of was the first time we were able to experiment with some new technologies, and one of them was video capture. We took advantage of that in the area of the advisors, where they would come up on screen and kind of interact with you and talk with you and give you some suggestions based on whether they were the military advisor or the cultural advisor or the happiness advisor or whatever. And certainly gaming has been driven in a lot of ways by the evolution of technology. As I mentioned, Civ 1, there was actually a 16-color mode. For a lot of the systems out there had 16 colors. By the time of Civ 2, we were able to do full motion video in small windows and do wonder movies and things like that. And with each iteration, we're trying to take advantage of the newest technology, but integrate it with what's kind of core and fundamental about Civilization. That was a really interesting challenge with Civilization Revolution on the consoles, because now we have a different kind of controller. We have a kind of a different time frame. We have a TV in the living room that we're using up. We probably can't occupy it for 20 hours, in a row, straight. So we had to kind of rethink a lot of ideas, but keep the core essence of Civilization, and that's really has always been the case. That we try and look at what the new technology allows us to do, but integrate that with what's the one more turn aspect of Civilization, and with Facebook, that's again kind of our challenge as to how do we keep the fun of Civilization, keep the essence of Civilization, but bring it into this new world.
So, what was it like getting and working with Leonard Nimoy on Civilization?
Don?
I wasn't there for that one.
Contrary, I guess, to popular belief, Leonard and I did not pal around for a long time. Leonard, I believe, showed up in a recording studio in New York early one morning, possibly very early, and did the voiceovers, and they were sent to us through the sterile medium of the internet, and all we got were these WAV files. That was all that's left of Leonard Nimoy after he did his job. So we didn't get to pal around. I didn't get to ask him, cool Star Trek questions or do one of these or anything.
What about getting him to sign on for the job? Like getting him to signing his voice up for the recordings and stuff.
I believe a number of famous voices are kind of available in the famous voice file. That's one job that they're good at and that they are available to do. I think there was a coolness factor. No doubt about it. Maybe we can get Shatner for the next one. I don't know. But it is not. they do not come and pal around with you. They kind of do their job. They're not like game designers that come to conventions, you know.
With a lot of companies putting more and more stock in the multiplayer industry, where do you see single-player real-time strategy games going in the future? Do you see a decline in that or an eventual reemergence?
We have seen, I think, a retrenchment in single-player RTSs. Actually, most RTSs have thrived, I think, with their multiplayer. When I think of Age of Empires or Warcraft, you know, multiplayer has been a big part of that. It's been turn-based games like Civilization and a few others that have really, I think, are still primarily single-player experiences, and that has to do with the nature of turn-based and, you know, not wanting to wait for somebody else to take their turn, being everybody playing at their own pace and things like that. So, you know, multiplayer, again, where it's appropriate, really adds a lot to a gaming experience. We're not, you know, we try and include it with all our civs, but we're not trying to force it in there. Facebook, I guess, again, is really, it's one of the fascinating aspects to me of Facebook, is to go into a world that is primarily multiplayer-oriented, community-oriented, and rethink Civ for that world. And it really is rethinking. I mean, the game that we're working on is recognizably Civ, but it is a very different experience than just kind of playing multiplayer Civ with one of the previous games. So, you know, we see community gaming, we see all that stuff growing, multiplayer gaming certainly becoming more and more part of gaming, but we need to be you know, appropriate in terms of how we apply it to our game ideas.
I think we have time for the last 4.
All right, 4 more questions.
Serendipitously, my question is pretty related to that multiplayer question.
All right.
A recent trend in board games is a lot of cooperative gaming, where you're trying to beat the game, and that's pretty sorely lacking right now in strategy games for the computer and the consoles. And since you're doing a Facebook one, do you see a future in cooperative gaming for strategy?
I actually do. That is a very good question. You know, to me, cooperative gaming is the kind of missing element and the secret sauce of potentially a Facebook gaming. You know, I think that it's an arena where you are there with your friends, with people you know, and there's something satisfying about being on a team with people that you know and kind of, you know, filling that key role and being the hero and doing it with your friends. So I do see, you know, we've done single player, we've done a lot of competitive. Now cooperative is kind of the third leg of the three-legged stool of gaming, and I think it's something that we haven't explored as much as we could, and I'm looking forward to exploring that.
Earlier you mentioned that you don't really usually play your games after they've shipped. I was just wondering, what other games do you like to play to get inspiration or just to have fun? And also, just quick, what's your favorite Civilization to play in the Civilization games when you are playing?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last part.
What's your favorite Civilization to play in the Civilization games when you are playing?
In terms of other games, I probably play a lot of the same games that you all play. Age of Empires has been one of my favorite games. Anything, you know, Blizzard does, I think, is fantastic. It's fantastic.
You play WoW?
I have not committed my life to World of Warcraft. But I hear it's a fine game.
No. Don't do it.
I also like looking at, you know, the console games. You know, the new Batman Arkham game. Quite impressive. I like racing games. I spent a lot of my time with Gran Turismo and some of the other racing games. So probably a lot of the same games that you play, I like to play and just and have fun with. I probably don't play a lot of other hardcore strategy games, probably because there's enough of that in my life. But I'm a gamer. I think that's pretty essential to being a game designer, is to be a gamer. So I keep gaming.
Do you have a gamer tag?
I do not go online. There's a lot of weird people.
Like us. Yeah.
It's frightening. It's a frightening place. I originally hooked up my Xbox Live, and it was not not a good experience.